Hello, welcome everyone, and good morning, good evening, uh, good afternoon, wherever you are. Uh, Another session as part of AWS User Group Budapest. Thanks everyone for joining. Today we basically have a different style where we do a recap for reInvent. So as you guys know, AWS do a reInvent every year in November, end of November. So they launch new services. They enhance and update existing services. So part of this recap is to bring the visibility to the community, like what happened and what are the new services, new features that has been added, and that's part of the recap. So I have two guest speakers today. Renato Lazio from joining from Berlin, and I have AJ joining from India all the way. So they going to cover from databases, storage, and AI ML by AJ. So that would be the format, and I'll cover the compute and the dev tools for the rest. Yeah, and yeah, welcome everyone. I'm so excited and happy to start the session. Uh, and don't forget at the end, fill the feedback form which I shared in the chat. If you have any comment or any questions, leave it in the YouTube chat. So the speakers will get back to you, or if we respond to you in the chat. So uh, but if you want to win HashiCorp exam vouchers or $50 AWS credits, please fill the feedback form and leave the details. That's how I can get back to you. I will come back to you in a week or 2 weeks. But I'll be generous, and I would like to support you in your learning on AWS, plus in your career growth as well. I have some exam vouchers to give away as well. Cool. With that, I would like to bring on stage Renato. A quick intro. Hello, Renato.
Hi, Meru. Thanks for having me here. My name is Renato. As you just said, I'm based in Berlin. I'm actually spending at the moment a lot of time in Italy, and so I'm
All
basically
right,
between
Italy.
Italy and Germany at the moment. Um, I'm a cloud architect since 2011, so long time when there were not that many services. When the recap of reInvent was a very short one, and in some sense, life was easier for us because you didn't have many options, and that was bad. At the same time, you didn't have many options, so that was pretty easy to make choices. You were choosing by constraints, I will say. So really, really excited to be here and discuss. Yeah, I'm a AWS data hero. My background is mostly in relational, and now a bit as well, not relational databases, and anything related to storage. So petabyte of storage on S3 is my day-to-day job. So about reInvent, I think there's a bit of a misconception that people join a session like this one because they didn't attend reInvent, or they want to see a recap because they didn't pay attention. Reality is that even if you went to if you were there live, or even if you attended virtually, there was so much going on, so much noise, so much announcement, and people clapping, and people getting super excited about maybe a big new feature, a big new service, that you might have missed many, maybe less, let's say, tier one announcement, the one that maybe make the big news, but maybe the one that you can use on the day-to-day already in your job. And I think those are often the most important, because we all love new exciting services, and we are going to see a few in a second. But maybe those one are 1 year down the line, they are in preview, or maybe they are not part of your core architecture, or maybe they are cool to see, but you never have a chance to play with them. Well, maybe smaller thing that when maybe a bit under the radar are things that you can apply tomorrow, that maybe there's a new instance class, or there's a new property in the command line, or there's something that maybe is much more closer to a developer or developer experience, I would say. So
Sure.
with that one, if you're happy, I'm happy to start with covering the data.
Sure. Renato, thanks for being here. I mean, it is one of my AWS Data Hero, you always jump in, yeah, when we have events. As you know, I manage 4 global groups from Hungary. So thanks, Renato, again. And yeah, I don't
I'm
know,
really, really happy
it
to
was
be on
overwhelming in the
this.
reInvent, too much to take. So we thought we'll break it down and just, get it, make sure you guys can, get the grasp of what happened in reInvent. So with that, I think I will hand over to Renato and I will go in the backstage. Over to you, Renato.
Thank you. So, as we said, I'm going to cover two sessions, two parts. The first one is databases. So, before starting the very first slide of what happened in database, I will say that there were three major kind of announcement in the database side. One was integration. We all love that every year AWS introduce 1, 2, 3, 4 new services. Reality, one of the challenges when we start to use many services is to have integration between them. So you might have your data in RDS and you want to use you might want to use Redshift for your analytics, but how do you keep your data in sync, for example, was a big long-term request from the community, and we see that in a second how that has been addressed. Another big one, another second trend that we saw is serverless. Servers in the data world. There have been a lot of discussion in the last 1 year about what is really serverless. We could spend the entire meeting, actually we could spend the entire afternoon, day, discussing what serverless is and what serverless means for databases. But let's say that AWS calls serverless any database that has vertically elastic capabilities, and many new services are now elastic. So basically, you now expect that almost every single database on AWS offers a serverless version. Serverless means maybe different things in different technology, but usually in databases for AWS means there's some sort of elasticity. You don't have to scale yourself the size of the database. And the third big area that was during reInvent was a big common problem of databases is sharding of data. So you want to, you can scale vertically, then up bigger instance, bigger storage, but at some point you hit the ceiling. So how can you do sharding of your data? There are third-party companies that offer that for many years. There are options that you can deploy yourself on Kubernetes or EC2 instances or wherever you want, but you have to manage. Now there was the very first announcement in that space from AWS. So without further ado, let's see those announcements. As I said, what they call zero ETL integration is, for example, in this case, one of the first announcements was the synchronized data from DynamoDB, so from your NoSQL database to OpenSearch. Why do you need that? Well, if you want to implement anything related to Elasticsearch, in this case, it's called OpenSearch service, you want to have an easy way to keep that. And the way it's implemented, there's, of course, what it is a new wrapping on top of other services that were already available, but basically they are doing the heavy lifting for you. In this case, they're using DynamoDB Stream for capturing changes to the data, and then they do ingestion with OpenSearch ingestion. So why do you want to do that? Well, you might run your high-performance analytics on DynamoDB data without having any impact on production workload running on DynamoDB. At the same time, that's the big reason why you want to use integration is that you don't want to build and maintain yourself data pipelines to perform. You could do it before, you could do it yourself, but that means usually I'm using too many services. I don't want to do it myself. That's simplifying. That's simplification for you. At the moment, it's just a preview in one region. Similarly, for different technology, I quickly mentioned before, is if you have Postgres on Aurora, you're able now to synchronize data to Redshift, and you can have at that point near real-time analytics again with your petabyte of data without really affecting the production database. So your business analytics can run on Redshift with data that you don't need to refresh yourself every single time. So Same time, you can do it with MySQL from RDS, not from Aurora. And again, same concept. In this case, you're using RDS instead of Aurora, but the idea is you have your application data in your relational database. You do zero ETL integration to Redshift, and then you do your analytic query, your ML models based on Redshift. Another one of those big integration was for OpenSearch. We all love S3. S3 is great to store data because, well, it's pretty much the cheapest option to store data, to store a lot of data on AWS. And it's cool. It's cheap. It's reliable. You don't have to think about that. The problem is it's pretty hard to query data from S3. Yes, you can use Athena, you can use other way, but how do you import data from S3 to other services? Well, there are any service has its own way, but there are now as well way to directly query your data, for example, from OpenSearch, directly data that is S3. What's the advantage to do it this way is you don't need to switch between services and you remove the complexity to build yourself and manage the pipeline. Because yes, you can always build something that using data transformation layer or using managed service as well between service A and service B. But in some way, you will defeat the purpose of having a managed service, because if you need to synchronize the data yourself, then you have the problem to maintain that synchronization. So that's why the zero ETL integration are important and why they were a big request. They are not that kind of announcement that people say, wow, but they are really the one that help people to improve deployment that are based on many dozen different AWS services. Now, I mentioned as a second point, serverless. Serverless, there's a new serverless caching option. So now you can do Elastic Cache with Redis. You can do it serverless. What does it mean being serverless? That the capacity scales. It doesn't scale to zero, but this scales based on traffic. There was some argument about the minimum size and the cost, but that's more what it is. Third thing that I mentioned was sharding. Well, that's what Aurora limitless database is. The idea is until now, there was just one writer, even in Aurora, even on the serverless or the provision version. You could have many read replica, you could have global table, but at the end, you might reach the point that you want to scale beyond the limits of a single Aurora writer instance. That's what Aurora limitless database is. It's a serverless endpoint and distribute data and query support across multiple Aurora serverless instances. So the proxy, usually you do that with a proxy and your own, or you build your own sharding technology. Usually it's not a great idea. Here is out of the box for you. And you still keep the transactional consistency of a single database. It's currently in preview and is currently Postgres only. One, I mentioned three pillars, but there's actually a fourth one, is vector search. You probably have noticed in the last few months, not as a great event, that almost every database, not only on AWS, outside AWS as well, MongoDB, well, of course, Pinecone was already there. Any database wants to have native support for vector search. Why? Because, well, it's important when you generate and store vector embedding using AI, whatever you use Amazon Bedrock, SageMaker, or want to use even recognition to do face recognition, whatever you want to use a vector database. And the first service that introduced that was, I think, where the relational database based on Postgres. They started to have that option using the Postgres extension, supported both on RDS and Aurora now. And now as well, vector search is supported on Amazon DocumentDB, Amazon MemoryDB for Redis as well. You can generate and store vector embeddings, and use case are, well, standard use case. Fraud detection, recommendation engines, anything based on, right? And that's what it is. Not surprising, we mentioned a couple. There's one more, vector engine for OpenSearch serverless. In this case, is very much the same. And another option. For the one familiar with graph database, Amazon Neptune now offer Amazon Neptune Analytics. It's basically a fully managed graph analytic experience. So you load the data from your Amazon Neptune, or you take data lake on, or your data lake that you have on, as we said before, on S3, and you can run your analysis task in near real time. I have no specific details. I haven't used it, so I have no idea what we mean here by real time. RDS for DB2. Well, that at the beginning, a few people thought it was a joke. It's not a joke. RDS has been there for now, what we say over 15 years almost. It was one of the very first service launch. It started with MySQL. The first few years they introduced Postgres, then they introduced SQL Server, they introduced even Oracle, of course MariaDB. There was one engine that has never been there, was DB2. Apparently there's still quite a large number of people running DB2 scenario on IBM. They want to migrate those one to the cloud, and that's what you have now. You have a fully managed DB2 database engine. Is based on bring your own license model, so you bring your database in RDS. I suspect that not many attendees are going to use it, but it's fun to know that there's one more option for RDS. This is Amazon managed blockchain access Polygon, instant serverless access to the Polygon blockchain, no infrastructure overhead, no idea how it works. Storage, that's so those were the main headlines for the database. So again, I said at the beginning, serverless databases was one trend, integration between services, so zero ETL option for different services. Number 3 was sharding. For me, that was the third important one, even if it's just in preview, that if it's only for Postgres and Aurora. And then the other 2 big news were, of course, was vector integration for many different engines. So let's move to storage. What was the main announcement in the storage space? Well, I think here is less controversial. What was the main announcement was S3 Express One Zone storage class. I think there was really a lot of headlines about this new storage class, and I think was one of the misunderstood options on S3. Now, what is the new Express One Zone storage class? First of all, it's a new set as well of API, new bucket type, new endpoint, because it's the very first one where you really define which zone you're going to work on. What is that? It basically improved data access speed by 10 and you can achieve single digit, try to remember that, single digit millisecond data access speed. So it's incredibly fast. And is already integrated with Amazon Athena, EMR, and S3 Mount Point. For the one not familiar with S3 Mount Point, is that open source client that you can mount on your EC2 instance that now used to be in beta for a few months, since last autumn is as well GA, and you can mount your S3 as a file system. So you can do a lot of things on your EC2 instance. What the goal? Data services. Now, the price reduced request cost by 50%. And that's cool. What it doesn't reduce is the cost per gigabyte, that is pretty high, because the scenario is supposed to be for data that doesn't stay there months, years, or long-term storage, is a fast, short-term storage. And as well, of course, that can really speed up data processing for data lake, whatever else. But that's the new Express One Zone storage class. But that's not technically part of the entire structure of S3. There is really a new bucket type that is called the S3 directory bucket. And that's, and you associate to a specific zone. So for example, as well, you can mount it on S3 mount point, but has to be in the zone where you are. Of course, you cannot have a single-digit millisecond access to data that is on a different availability zone, so technically in a different data center. Another big announcement on S3 was the access grant. So is one more way to control access to your S3 data. Yes, that's great, but you're able now to define permission to data in S3 using prefix, bucket, or object. So you can, for example, map user from corporate directory. So I am identity center or principal, and be able as well to decide access permissions to a specific bucket prefix, and as well that integrates with other services. So you are able to, as well, one of the cool part is end user identity appear in logging and auditing, and integrate with analytics service like Athena, EMA. So is a cool way to simplify many ways where you need to do auditing of data, where you need specific permission for large number of users. I mentioned it before, was Mountain for Amazon S3. Technically was not announced at reInvent, but it's still a big announcement part that is used by other services at reInvent. As we said before, the new one zone class supports it. So cool, we need to remember that. Was GA since September. And so you can access the elastic storage throughput of Amazon S3 to a file interface. Again, you don't pay by storage, you pay by the storage of S3. You don't have to allocate the storage first. And the cool thing that was added just end of November, so when just before reInvent, was caching support. So basically, before every time the data was retrieved by S3, now is you have caching of the most recent data on S3, on EC2 instance. As well, the container storage interface driver for Kubernetes is now available, and of course the support for S3 Express One Zone storage class. So you can see that now the combination of a fast one zone storage class, a client that help you to access data straight on S3, well, makes it much easier to access large data and process large data in a short time from EC2 or from containers in general. S3 data transfer is something that, again, I wouldn't consider part of the announcement of reInvent, but there were some boosts in some configuration. Is basically those are what I mean by small announcement or small incremental announcement that maybe they don't sound that cool, but they are the one that really you reap the benefit the day after the conference or the day after you configure that property. Thanks to the new client, you can, that is already actually including the latest command line and the Python SDK. You have what is called accelerated S3 data transfer that is by default on certain large instance size, like the TRN1N class or the P4D class. So they're quite high-end class, but you can use it. These are more instances. You can just you can test it, and you can test your instance just adding a S3 flag to the configuration file using or use the preferred transfer client to put CRT. That is the new client that I think was introduced the very first time in the Java SDK at the end of 2022, if I well remember. There were as well some price and performance update for EFS. What is EFS? Is the Elastify system. So from what we said until now, with S3, the new S3 class and the ability to access S3 from the EC2, you almost felt like we don't need EFS anymore because you can get much faster performance. Well, actually, EFS as well now has better price mode for the archive storage class. So there's a new class to store in throughput mode only to have a cheaper way for long-term, or at least medium long-term storage. And the price of the infrequent access storage class has been reduced by 36%. So if 3 years ago, EFS was basically one class and that was it, now you have to think a bit more. So it's in one way more complex. Which class to put the data, but you can do quite some good cost optimization that way. From a technical point of view, the coolest part is that EFS can now support up to 250K read IOPS and up to 50K write IOPS per single file system. So that's quite a significant increase and covers many cases where you need to have a large bandwidth. Support. There was another announcement related to EFS is a replication of support failback. Now let's see. Here we have a few of them. There are a few FSX services on Amazon. There's the one for that introduce new features. So, for example, data replication for Amazon FSX for OpenZFS. I don't know, many of you are using it, but is a fully managed network file storage system that you mount over NFS. Now there's some new capability. There's used to be that you were able to do multi-Z, snapshot, blah, blah, blah. But now you are able to replicate your volume across file system, and that means you're able to enable full isolation of production and development workflows. So you don't need to share it anymore. NetApp on top updates. That's again here, as we had for EFS. There's a greater maximum throughput of 36 gigabytes a second and up to 1.2 million IOPS. They added a few regions, actually just one region in this case. And now you support creating multi-Z file system in shared VPC participant account. Cool. Backup updates. Backup is one of those services that have been out for a few years now, and every year they try to add new services. Now we support or new feature for a specific service. You can do EBS snapshot archive on AWS backup. So you can think almost if you have multiple accounts, if you have a centralized way to manage backup, that's pretty cool. And you have as well support for restore testing. One service that is mostly for financial industry, a very specific one, is a fully managed service, is what is called AWS B2B data interchange. It translates EDI documents stored in S3. It supports XML and JSON. It supports just a subset of the feature of the EDI, mostly the one for financial transaction. But basically, is one of those managed services to simplify the option of enterprise financial industries and pair with existent event-driven service. So you can notify, of course, you can trigger events from changes to specific files. Elastic DRR validation automation is a disaster recovery solution that provides recovery of on-premise and cloud-based server. Automate validation when launching EC2 instance for recovery and drill. And you can use the post-launch action feature to perform a validation. Now, those were the main announcement of the storage and database. So storage, I would say the very, very biggest big announcement, at least for developers, at least when we mean by it's always controversial to say what a big announcement is, because you always have the big problem that different people use different technologies. But if you have to remember, the key announcement of the storage part is, for me, is the Express single zone storage class. Make sure you understand the use case and how to use it and the cost associated with storage. So short-term storage, give it a try. It's available in every single region where S3 is available. And the key point there is a new bucket endpoint where you choose the zone. So it's slightly different from the way you tend to use S3. Other big point is mount point for S3. So that's the other one. So those are the two, what I will consider the announcement that mostly are going to change the life of developer. Then, of course, if you are in EFS, there were significant improvement in performance as well. Questions?
Cool. That's fantastic, Renato. Thanks. You covered nice bits there. I'm just checking the chat. I mean, I didn't see any questions. I think it's new announcement. So, yeah, it's clear. And yeah, you sound clear as well. So
thanks so much. Yeah, there's some that is pretty hard to judge from. I think they're really covering specific use case. According if you use, I don't know, on top storage devices, you are in a very specific industry, specific enterprise industry.
Yeah.
And probably those were, as usual, very driven by customer feedback. So there were probably big requests to have separate endpoint or separate the ability
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
replicate data, and those they are mostly not affecting directly developers on a day-to-day basis. But I I say I was pretty excited by what I saw, almost on the database space at Raymond this year.
Sure. Sure. Cool. Thanks, Renato. In that case, we're good. And again, thanks for jumping in every time on the database side or anything. You're the that DB expert. Oh yeah. From the audience, if you have anything that you would like to Renato to cover in detail and any topic, any
I
DB
would
topic,
be happy to. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
would be
I
happy
will
to address
request
them.
Renato. So thanks again, Renato. So yeah, please feel
I'm
free
here.
to.
I'm here in the background. I won't disappear.
Thanks, Renato. Yeah, thanks for covering, and yeah, you've been a great as a speaker as well. Cool, thank you. The next in the line then is AI and ML. We will have AJ taking over all the new announcement, what's been covered as generative AI and machine learning. But AI, AJ basically is, is based in India, based out of India. So I think it's late for him. So I would probably, have a recording. Oh, okay. So I will play a recording from AI. But before I do, I will bring back Renato again 1 second because I see a question. So I might bring it on the screen. So let's finish this question and then I will go back to the AI.
I haven't actually tried. I doubt that. I read the question just in case not everyone sees. How can we transfer existing infrequent access data to the new one zone? Um, infrequent. No, okay. There are two. Okay, that's part of me of the problem of as well. I think that the naming of the new storage class is. I understand why it was called uh, S3 Express. One zone because it's of course a one zone class, but it's actually not the very first one zone class that AWS support. What do I mean by that? There was already one infrequent access one zone storage class that was a version very similar to the infrequent access class, just a bit cheaper. And what you were saying is that instead of storing data in uh, three availability zone, that's the standard S3 approach, you were saying that you were pretty much happy that all your copies were stored in the same place. That gave you a slightly cheaper, slightly fast option on S3. That's one storage class. That single infrequent access zone is a single zone, but was very different. First, the use case was very different. And second was you couldn't choose the zone yourself. You were saying one zone and you were saying using the standard S3 API. The new one is called S3 Express One Zone. Is has the same concept of S3, but um, is basically you choose up front you create the bucket endpoint, the what do you call bucket file system in a specific zone. So you say I want to use zone A, and then you copy the data there. I haven't tried myself. That's a very good question. If you can do it with a lifecycle rule, but given that they are two entirely separate concepts, I would expect you're not able to do with a lifecycle rule a copy of the. I think you can. What you can use the import feature in the console or in the command line. But
Cool.
I doubt that is. But I need to check it. I
Thanks,
haven't
Renato.
checked in the.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we can cover that again. If you have anything, we're gonna bring Renato again down the line. So don't worry. We have a lot of events coming in. Planned for 24. So yeah, he will come back for sure. Cool. Thanks, Renato. So thanks for coming back again. Cool. Thanks, Shemai, for the question. Then I will present the Gen AI and machine learning by AJ. So it's a recording I have to play because AJ unfortunately cannot join because of his time difference. But so I will just bring the video on the stage and I'll basically play the Gen AI and then I will present at the end. Thanks, guys.
Good day to everyone. Thanks for joining today's meetup for the AWS user group Budapest, Hungary on the AWS Reinvent Recap. Today I'm taking about the recap session on AWS AI and ML. So let me start with the new announcement on the generative AI stack. Okay, there are amazing announcements happened on the generative AI stack on the Reinvent Recap. Okay, we are going to go through some demos and the real hands-on labs on how to leverage this new announcement for your business use case. The AWS given the generative AI stack from the ground up, from the infrastructure for the foundation model training and inference. So you can use a range of GPUs and you can use the Trainium, which is AWS custom chips for training for your foundation model, Inferentia to host your foundation model, and SageMaker, which is an end-to-end ML and AI platform to build your application, machine learning workloads. And AWS provide the latest offering of using Ultra Cluster. So Ultra Cluster will help you to build a large language model from the scratch where you can stack up the GPUs and high fast communication can be achieved via EFA, Elastic Fabric Adapter. Okay, and on top of it, there is a new announcement from the EC2 capacity blocks where you can reserve the amount of the EC2 you needed for your foundation model well in advance so that you can guarantee it during the training. And you can use the Neuron SDK along with from the SageMaker to train your foundation model. Then comes the AWS Bedrock. And AWS Bedrock give you the variety of offerings where you can use a range of foundation models from the leading providers like Anthropic, AI2 Labs, and Meta, Amazon, Stable Diffusion. So it's very obvious that there is no one size model fits for all. You cannot solve all the use case with a single model. So that's why AWS Bedrock, the generative AI is serverless offering from AWS. You can use a variety of models. Okay. On top of it, you can apply guardrails, you can apply evaluation, and you can create agents to custom workflow. Also, you can tune the foundation model from existing foundation model for your use case for your own data set. So far, so good. We have wonderful infrastructure and we have a generative AI model, but AWS given a ready-to-use services like Amazon Q, where you can leverage right away. That Amazon give you the experience of how powerful the generative AI model is. You can use Amazon Q along with the Connect. You can use it with the Code Whisperer from the IDE, and you can use with the quick sites to give you the executable report for your data. We are going to see all those demos today. So as I said, what is Amazon Bedrock? So you can choose the foundation model of your choice, okay, and it gives you the enterprise grade security and privacy. So imagine you are building an application using your Lambda function. You want all the calls to the foundation model need to go in a secured manner. You can, and you want the Lambda function only restricted to certain foundation model. Take example of Amazon Titan. What you can do is you can, in a Lambda rule, you can restrict only those foundation model. Plus, you can create an endpoint so that the VPC, wherever the Lambda function is running, can be only accessed to the Bedrock model in a secure manner. So enterprise level, right from the IA policy to the VPC, everything can be doable, and it is highly secure, and it will fit within your environment, within your application. for your application. So these are the offerings from the AA. These are the offerings of the foundation model from the Amazon Bedrock. Okay, the AA21 Labs is the model provider. Okay, they have a Jurassic Ultra, Jurassic Net, which is really good for contextual answers, summarization, and paraphrasing. And we have Anthropic model from the cloud, which is very good for reasoning, writing, and coding. And we are going to do some demo using Anthropic today. And go here, we have this is one of the model embedding model which is offered by the Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock give two embedding model which will convert your word to vector. So one of the offering from the Amazon Bedrock is the embedding model is from the Cohere. Then we have Meta. Meta, we have a different offering. Meta 13B, Meta 70B. Along with it, we have a chat version also. Based on your use case, you can select the model. And stability.ai is to create a high quality image generation. And Amazon has its own foundation model. They call it as Amazon Titan. Okay. But we have exciting announcement came out from the reinvent recap. We have Amazon, where Anthropic 2.1 give you the context window, 200K context window. Because if you are writing, do some kind of summarization, and if you want to summarize it 500 or 600 pages, and or you want to do it for the long range of the content, you need the context window to be taken that as input. So that's what the Claude 2.1 is giving you the feature. You can create summarization for the large text. So it is giving us 200K token context window. Then we have offering from the Meta Llama 270B, which is a one of the highly rated model according to the Helm. Okay, so it's a large model. Okay, and it can do well in your language modeling, dialogue systems. Okay, not only that, Amazon Titan model it expanded its array of model. I started from the text embedding. The text embedding will give you the take the word and convert it to the numerical representation. So we have offering from the Titan for the embedding model, and we have a Titan Lite and a Titan Express. Okay, so which will give you the best cost for summarization and copywriting, and you can even fine tune this model. Okay, let's say you have your use case where you want to train the foundation model for your data set. You can use the Titan text and fine tune the model. And then we have a Titan Text Express, where is one of the right fit for doing a conversation chat, and it can be support the RAG. We are going to do some demo on this. Okay. And we have multimodal embedding. Okay, so multimodal embedding advantages, you can take the images. The model, the foundation model is not only for the language models. We have image to text. Okay, to get the semantic understanding of what is there in the image. So you can use the multimodal to you take that image and you convert that as a vector and store it, and you can do the correlations or cosine similarity accordingly. And this is a fantastic news. This is currently in preview, but I have tested this. I will show you how you can. And you can use that Titan image generator to generate the realistic studio quality images. And as I mentioned, it also provides us the customization capability. It is very important. Okay, so imagine you want to train the model according to a use case, fine tune the model rather than building the model from the scratch. You can use the fine tuning the model, and you can use Amazon Titan Text Lite or Express this in preview. Knowledge base. Okay, so knowledge base is a no code RAG. Okay, if anybody want to understand what is a RAG, okay, I can explain in a simple manner. So whenever you are currently giving the prompt from any of the language models, sometimes it will hallucinate or it will give you the unwanted information. RAG is meant for make sure that it is live within your context, within your enterprise. Uh, while I'm doing the demo, you will get better understanding of what is RAG. Um, so, and very important thing is vector database, okay, because we have a data in multiple places for different use cases. Let's say we keep our transaction data or or the product data in Amazon Aurora. So they enable you need to enable the PG vector, and you can store the data in a vector format in your Amazon Aurora. And very soon the MongoDB is going to be coming to the picture. Today demo, we are going to use the vector data Pinecone as a vector database. And if you're using a knowledge base by default, it will create open search as a vector database. And also you can use a Redis Enterprise Cloud as a vector database. Why the vector database is very important is whenever most of the adaptation, the large language model adaptation is happening around the retrieval augmented generation, where it makes sure that the large language model doesn't hallucinate. It will use the power of the language model at the same time and live within the context of your enterprise data and give you the uh, more valuable text generation output. Imagine you have created a chatbot and currently it is a predefined chatbot. Okay, you want to leverage the large language model. At the same time, you want to make sure it does live within your context. This RAG approach is really useful and very powerful. Okay, without the delay, I'll start doing a demo one by demo. I'll start the Amazon queue. So I'm in AWS console. So first, let me start with a very simple thing. Anybody who have access to the AWS console, go here. You can see there is a queue enabled. Okay, it will ask you for acknowledgement. If you want, you can click on it and you can acknowledge it. You can ask, give me simple command to create S3 bucket. If you ask this question, so it is using S3 API to create. Okay, can you give me Python go-to-tree command? So this is not only helpful, you would rather navigating between multiple products. Okay, you can use Amazon Q and get more information here. Let's say you want to know about it. Somebody you want to build a project on AWS Comprehend, and there is a medical use case. So you want to see what does make AWS Comprehend medical. If you ask, okay, it will give you the information. Say that this is a Boto3 output they gave. It's import the Boto3, give S3 Boto3, S3 create a bucket and bucket name, and that's it. You can create S3 bucket. So this is very simple. You can quickly kickstart off your use case. Okay, so it is saying medical of natural language process that can extract the medical information. So I'm giving another use case. Okay. Can you create event driven application where S3 is source and lambda will be invoked, and inside the lambda function you need to pass the S3 content and send input to comprehend medical and store the output of comprehend medical to another history bucket. Event-driven application. Can you give me a step for you? Give me the steps. So it's a final use case I tested. I never tried it. I'm just trying it. So it is not able to give. So you can break it down. So this is the power of the AWS queue. Let me make it a little short. So I'm not saying that this will give you all the privileges or all the output you're looking for, but it's the best place to start with. Okay, so this will give you the the basic stuff for creating event-driven application, and you can look at the citation and start working on it. Okay, that's the first thing I want to test. Then I want to test for quick site for business. Okay, sorry, queue for business. And let's queue for queue. So today's session, I mostly want to do some hands-on so that you can have some takeaway and try it. Okay. So what I did, I created a experience. Okay, let me first talk about what is Amazon Q experience. You come here, you can create application like this. You create the application, say, sample web chat application, and then you can create. After creating, you can create a retriever. So this is exactly the way that a retriever augmented generation works. Okay, so you're creating an application. Now you are creating your retriever. That retriever can be anything where you store your data. The data can be stored in a vector database, or you can use it Amazon Kendra to store your database. I wait for this to create. So I already created one application. Here, I created a data source. This is my retriever settings. I keep as a native retriever, but I want you to see what all the retriever options are. Come here. You can create a selector retriever. If you click on the retriever, you have option of selecting the retriever. The retriever can be S3 or web crawler, or you can upload multiple options so that even you can use a GitHub or Gmail, you can select based off your option. Or you can use existing retriever. You can keep your existing retriever as a Kendra. If you already have a Kendra application, then it will ask for the connecting the data source. Okay, so I selected the data source as a web crawler. So what I did is I have created the simple application. Let me delete this. Delete. I created this. Sorry, deleted it. I come here to the Blue Wave chatbot, Blue Wave Holidays. I have created this website. I'm crawling here. Look at it. I'm doing a web crawler. I gave a URL. This URL is bluewaveholidays.net. if you want to see, this is the bluebayholidays.net. It's a website, okay, which is a travel website for the Maldives company, from the Maldives. So I crawling all the website. I have done a sync once, and I can see it is scanned 62 documents. It's added a 62 documents. Okay. Then what I did after finishing this, I just going for a before doing the web experience, I'm just previewing the web experience. So here I have given the chatbot. Look at it. It looks like a perfect chatbot for your application. So cancel. Now I'm asking, give me the result, list of result, list of results. So what does it do when I'm giving this input? It will go get this information. Sorry. Yes. I'm giving a new conversation. Give me the list of, give me the result information. This is a prompt I'm doing. Once I did the prompt, it will go look the data. It will not get it from the, it will not auto generate. It will one look within the context. It will give only this information. So if I ask, can you give more information? Can you give more information on atmosphere by entity? So it will start giving this information. So it will give you this information and it will give you the source, including the URL. Okay. Here I'm asking, how can I book a flight ticket to Maldives if I enter? It should not give any information since the data which we have crawled don't have that information. So that's what the advantage of using a retrieval augmented generation. Here I given it, it's taken out all the complexity of storing the data into the vector store and creating the complete UI. It's completely augmented all UI. And it created a UI to do demo of your simple chat applications work along with your own data. This one you can leverage for your within your business. You can connect with a multiple data source like a Jira, Confluence, ServiceNow, GitHub. They have already all the plugins available where you can connect with. So this is one example I want to show you. Let me see what is the next example I can. Okay, quick sites for business that you may like it. Okay, so I go to the quick sites. Another quick sites. Yeah, QuickSight is a business intelligence tool from Amazon AWS. So if you guys not done it, not used this before, I just want to give a recap. So you can connect to any data source. You can connect to Athena, IS3. You can connect to any data source. I will show you an example. You can click on it. You can connect to any data source, like a Presto, Databricks. You can connect to any data source. You can create a data set. And after creating a data set, all you can use the data set and create interactive dashboards. You can analyze the data and then you can create interactive dashboards. I have created a small dashboards. This is a business analysis dashboard. It given you the revenue, it given you the segment of the revenue by region, given me the amazing chatbot. Okay. Now this chat, amazing charts. Okay, so this chart is good. Now I want to present this to the executive. How can I present it quickly? So I can easily click on the data story. Okay, I click on a new story and I see slideshow, and I can click on add visual and I can select all the visual. Click on add. Excellent. Give me the proposal on future growth. So I just give and click on build. What does it do is it will take those numbers, it take its data and start giving me the visuals which I can go and present it to the executives. Okay. So I'm waiting for it. Meanwhile, I have tested one report. I can quickly show that. So if you go to the data stories, this is the story I have created, same data I used. So I have created as a slideshow. So look at it. It is giving me the same data which I was showing, but it will give you this one. Introduction. It's for each chart. It will give you this summary, executive summary. It taken the data, it applied the large language model, and it giving you the summarization based on your data, where it can be act as an amazing executive summary. Okay. So that's all. So this is the power of the large language model, and you can see the Amazon Q applied on quick sites, how you can create it, and you can give us a PDF file and send it to this one. Share, and you can share it within your thing, or you can copy this link and you can use this link as a sharing mechanism to share with your team. So from the data, you can apply the visuals without creating the data much from your BA intelligent tool like quick sites, and on top of it you can apply your large language model of GenAI features from AWS, where you can create a story or the executive summary of it. So that's the demo I want to show. Then you can use a QIn ID. I'm not going deep, but I just give you the look and feel. So I have some code like take this code example. What am I trying to do is I'm going to create I will create history bucket. Okay. Use the sample. Create history bucket. Import photo 3. So here this is the auto suggestion is happening because of 3 AWS and recap Hungary. So I'm doing it. Okay. So far so good. Now I'm taking this and I'm asking the queue to explain. So what will happen? It will explain me the code here. So it will import. So it will giving me this information. So what I will do now, I'm saying just to make some changes. Create a bucket. So I'm asking to queue to fix it. So it understands this, that I made a mistake on this part, like a created bucket, and it is saying use the create bucket. Okay. So that is a power of stage. That is the power of using quick set. Yeah, you need to install the plugin. So you have to go to the plugin. You have to install the Amazon Q, which is still in a preview. You can It'll help you. It will expedite your programming. It acts as a wonderful pair programming from your IDE, and along with the Code Whisperer will help you to from the prompt. It will give you the code and code and the Amazon queue on your IDE will help you to fix and explain, if possible, it refactor the code. Refactor code example, if you're from Java version 1 version to another version, you can able to do it. Okay, so that's the power of using the Amazon queue in your IDE. So far so good, guys. So wonderful. So this is a demo I want to show you. Let me come to the next one, Bedrock Playground. See, Bedrock, I think people who have access to the Bedrock, you first need to go to the Amazon Bedrock. First thing you need to do is go to the model access, select the model. These are the models available. Click on the manage model access, whatever the model you want to give access. Want access, you click on it, and finally you save changes. So once you save changes, you get an access. Sometimes you will get some time to get your approval. After that, what you can do is you can come, click on this playground. You can select the model you want. Select the model. You can use the Amazon model, say Titan Express. Apply. So response length. Let me shrink it to 28. What is the capital of okay. It's the best of it. So it will give you the response on the playground. You can play everything. I think you would have tried this one before, and even you can compare the model. Okay. So this is a one use case you would have tried it. Okay. If anybody interested to try the playing around with the Amazon Bedrock using your Photo 3, I would recommend to go to my blog I have wrote, because it's learning AWS Bedrock. I have created the blog in a step-by-step manner. Okay, take an example, blog 8. It's a stable diffusion model. I taken the Photo 3. I done for all the models. Okay, anybody is interested, please feel free to check it. So there is a code here, and I wrote it in the details. Okay. So this is a series I have created where you can learn using a Bedrock. No. So I have created the series for learning the Bedrock. I will give you the URL where you have the step-by-step instruction on it. Okay. Here it is. This is the Bedrock learning series. Here series, okay, where you have all the Photo 3. How you can access the Bedrock via CLI, how you can access the Bedrock via Photo 3, how you can get a small serverless application. I will share this as part of the recap on a YouTube link. So last, I want to show you the retrieval augmented generation using the knowledge base. Here, where I'm using a Pine. If you come here we have something called knowledge base. So let me take a simple example. I have taken the summarize of the data about the recent cricket world have happened in India in 2023. I taken the data till the semi-final. Okay, so I will go to this model, text model. I'm selecting the Anthropic, and selecting one the match. Okay, one the match between India versus Afghanistan and give me the summary of the match. I'm giving this as a prompt to the cloud model I'm running. So I'm waiting for the response. It says, unfortunately, I don't have this up-to-date information with the reset. Okay. So it is giving me the match which happened very earlier. It's not giving me the match happened recently. So what I want to try to do is I taken the data, I kept everything, all the summarization of the data in a S3 bucket. Okay. So if anybody want to play around, again, it is on a GitHub. Okay. So here I kept it in S3, all the data in S3 bucket. I can show you from here itself. So this is the place I kept all the data. So go here. So it's nothing but a text data. Go to the World Cup 2023. So I've given a batting statistic, cricket bowling statistic, and India cricket matches. Okay, and up to semi-final. Okay, so I will show you this one. So you'll have a better understanding. It's a summarization of the matches. All the matches India versus Netherlands, India versus South Africa, like that. All the matches they have a summarization. So I use this summarization data. What I did is I created a knowledge base. It used a retrieval augmented generation technique where it read the data from S3 bucket and store in a vector database. Okay. So creating knowledge base is very simple. Click on the knowledge interface, and after that, you need to go select your data source. The data source you can be S3 bucket. It can be S3 bucket. So I'm selecting the data source like choose and then click. This is very important. What embedding model you are using, whether you are using a Titan embedding model or you're using a embedding English or multilingual model, you have to select the model. Then you need to choose the vector data source. Okay? If you're not choosing the vector data source, it automatically create the open search serverless vector store. Okay, but if you want, you can use choose it like this. Okay, so I created a pine cone. So I taken the pine cone. If you want, I can show you the pine cone console. This is the pine cone console. I created an index. It's still in a free type, so I created an index and I given the dimension of 1536. So it's because I selected the proper embedding model from Amazon because this is very, very important if you did. And it's then I started, okay, here you look at it, it crawled all the data up to semi-final. All the text file was crawled, okay, and it's stored here. And I taken this information and I taken the key and store it into the secret manager. From there, I am able to create a vector store. So come to the knowledge base. So you already have this. I already created this. Here it's a 4 source file. The file is 4 source file. Okay. Now I select the same model which is not working for us. 2.1 model, and I'm giving them this input. Whatever the input we give here, it's not working for us. Who won the match? And give me a summary of the match. I'm giving the same thing, but I'm giving in testing the knowledge base, the data it augmented, and the data will come from the vector store, but it will apply the LLM, power of the LLM, and give you the beautiful summary of the matches. Let us wait for this. India won a match against Afghanistan by 8 wickets. So you give a citation. If I click on it, give you a citation on the file. And if you click on it, it will give you the matches. And if it will give you the batting record. Okay. So Rohit Sharma scored 131. He is aggressive. Okay. So result details. So each file it give you the citation from where it was taken. So that's what I want to show you guys. Hope this will give you the better understanding of what is what is the knowledge base and how to use it. Okay, so And we have Amazon also coming with multiple vector databases. So that's all for the session. Hope you liked the demo. Today's session, I mostly focused on the demos rather than going through the theoretical part because you can take this knowledge and can apply it straight away to your use cases. Okay. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, AJ. That was a really great presentation and yeah, good demo. Thank you. If you have any question, just leave it in the chat. So probably he can answer. Cool. Just time conscious, so just let me share my screen. So I will cover the security and compute. If time permits, I'll do some networking as well. But let's share my screen. Cool. Now, can you see the screen? I hope you guys can see the screen now. Cool. And let's click on. So I'll cover basically the security, compute, and dev tools. So let's see if time permits. I go to the networking one. And yeah, cool. So on the security side, as in cloud, security is ground zero. So AWS take it very serious. They work very seriously about the customer security. They take it very serious. So they launch some certain features, I think, which might be interesting for you guys. So let's see. The first and foremost, you can see the IAM analyzer, access analyzer. So you can see, one second. Yeah, now it basically simplifies inspecting unused access to guide you towards the least privilege by continuously analyzing. Cool, thank you for the heads up, Mohammed. And also now security teams can use the dashboard to review the findings centrally and prioritize which accounts to review based on volume on with findings. So that's a good thing. Let's go to IAM Identity Center and AWS Analytics. So there you have now this analytics services included with including Amazon QuickSight, which AJ just demoed you, for the business application to create some fancy reporting and stuff like that. And it's also included with Amazon Redshift, EMR, and Lake Formation, and S3. So for S3, it's like via S3 access grants. So IAM Identity Center also helps you manage and audit access to the data resources based on your user identity. So this new capability basically passes the identity information between the connected business intelligence and the data analytic applications. So this is, I think, quite important security feature. And the user groups maintained in their own, through an identity provider, and also you can audit what's going on across services. So that's very handy too. Security Hub, I think most of you guys familiar with Security Hub. This is basically allow your security teams to centrally enable and configure Security Hub standards. This is a new feature that's launched in reInvent, which also helps you control across accounts and regions in just few steps. Yeah, so this is a really useful security step. And this announcement also designed to streamline and simplify how you basically set up an administrator security hub in a multi-account, a multi-region organizations. That's pretty handy. And now you can also use Security Hub Central configuration to address any gaps in your security coverage by creating security policies and with your desired gaps in your security coverage by creating your security policies. Yeah, it also basically applies. You can also apply them across your selected regions, on also on the organization unit level, and yeah, it helps significantly reduce the effort required to globally manage the security hub, which will ensure that your organization's accounts have desired security coverage. And also, the organization administrators can now set the security hub a delegated administrator (DA) for all regions at once. So that's, I think, pretty useful. And again, with the security hub, you can now enrich all the findings with resource tags, a new AWS application tag, and also the account name as the findings, as they ingested to allow you to better contextualize, prioritize and take action on your security findings. This also include findings from Amazon GuardDuty, Inspector, IAM Access Analyzer, plus AWS Partner Network Solutions. Yeah. It also make it easier to fine-tune findings for automation rules, search, filter findings, and also insights. The access security posture status by application and security hub widgets. So you can also create, I think that's in the screenshot, basically on the screen you can see, you can also create some widgets to make it better visibility. It's resource tag enrichment. So coming to the guard duty, so AWS guard duty, the new feature that has been announced during the reinvent is like ECS runtime monitoring. You might have heard they did an integration with EKS last year. That was my favorite security feature as a container guy. But they expanded basically the guard duty and introduces runtime and threat detection for ECS workloads. It includes also the serverless container workloads running on AWS Fargate as well, which is pretty amazing, pretty useful. So that's something which I think you might want to explore. You can also enable the GuardDuty ECS runtime monitoring with just few steps from a GuardDuty console. It's also compatible with AWS organizations, so you can centrally enable runtime threat detection coverage for accounts, workloads across your organizations. For bigger organizations like I don't know, telecom, finance, those organizations, they have multi OUs, so you can also implement this across your OUs as well. That's also a pretty decent security feature I was looking for. Those of you familiar with Secrets Manager, you know that it basically saves or stores your the database secrets and supply that on at runtime without exposing the sensitive information like passwords and database passwords and etc. like that. But the new enhancement adds is basically a new API called Batch Get Secret Value. And this is basically to simplify a common developer workflows where you need to bring multiple secrets into your application. So with this feature, you basically no longer have to make iterative calls to retrieve one secret at a time or account for partial failures, yeah, by pulling multiple secrets. So this will basically provide you an enhancement on overall efficiency as well. And this API also, you can input a list of secret names or ARNs, like urban resource names, to filter the criteria using tags. So yeah, it's pretty useful feature. I haven't explored it, but I think I would explore it for sure. This API also returns the response for all secrets, meeting the criteria in the same format as existing get secret value API, if you're familiar with. This allows you to optimize your workloads while reducing the number of API calls. So this again, efficiency there. So those of you familiar with Amazon Inspector, so basically it's it's code scanning for Lambda functions are now basically includes assisted code remediation. So which means when you scan the code for Lambda function, it also gives you an assisted code remediation, how you would like to remediate that using again generative AI, so generative artificial intelligence. It's everywhere now, and it also provides you automated reasoning along with the remediation. Uh, Amazon Inspector Code remediation for Lambda functions also provides in-context code patches for multiple classes for vulnerabilities detected during the security scans for AWS Lambda function. It also extends the AWS Amazon Inspector capabilities to assess custom proprietary Lambda code for any security issues like injection flaws or data leaks or weak cryptography or missing encryption, based on AWS security best practices. So Amazon Inspector Container Assessment. So it basically integrates with CI/CD tools. Who are familiar with containers, so it is pushing the security earlier in your software development lifecycle. It also basically assess your findings conveniently on your CI dashboard. It's pretty. So once you activate that, Amazon Inspector automatically discovers all your Amazon uh, EC2 instances. You can take container images or ECR or your CI/CD tools, and even Lambda functions. It monitors and them for the known vulnerabilities against the database, vulnerability database. So giving you a consolidated view of vulnerabilities across all the compute environments. I think this is a pretty fantastic release they did for reInvent. So next one would be Amazon Detective. So as you guys are familiar, so Amazon Detective supports basically a log retrieval from Amazon Security Lake, and also now can also integrate with Security Lake, enabling the security analyst to query, retrieve logs stored in the Security Lake. You can use this integration to get additional information from the CloudTrail logs and also Amazon VPC flow logs. Stuff like that for any security investigations. Amazon Detective is also completely like a managed security service. So that simplifies the investigation process. So you don't have to have any overhead of managing any underlying infrastructure or systems. So it's a completely managed service. It also helps with building data aggregation, summaries, visualizations based on the security findings and activity logs. When you need a deeper analysis, Detective provides a pre-built query in Amazon Athena, focused on time frame and components involved. So this basically speeds up the process of retrieving relevant CloudTrail and VPC flow logs. So I think this pretty useful release. So one more important stuff I would want to cover is containers. So as more and more application moving towards application modernization, microservices, container based, it's pretty important that we have. Now Amazon Detective now supports security investigations for threat detected by Amazon Guard Duty. Like last, we heard that it integrates Guard Duty integrates with ECS runtime monitoring, but now provides enhanced visualizations and additional context for the detections on ECS. So you can use that, new runtime threat detection for Guard Duty and investigative capabilities from Amazon Detective to improve your detection, response for your potential threats to your container workloads. That's I think another useful one. It also the expanded investigation capabilities are available today. I think from the reInvent launch across all existing new detective accounts and also in all AWS regions as well. So you might want to get your hands dirty. You can feel free to test it. Let's go to compute. So again, AWS, they work hard to get more and more better every time. This is one, but I also look forward like what's the new improvement they launch or new system they launch. So now, as you can see, they have a new Trinium 2 generation instances, so which are really highly performant and also, yeah, 4 times faster than the first generation Trinium chips, and also more energy efficient. So more and more companies are going on energy efficient. So that's again focus there for Amazon as well. And new NVIDIA, NVIDIA's GPU chips. So this is getting more and more traction. So when I was there in reInvent, I've seen the CEO co-founder from NVIDIA, and also Adam from AWS. They have, I think, now a greater partnership to bring more GPUs to capacity to drive this Gen AI, and also make it more accessible, and just make it more available for the end users as well. So I think there's a very nice chat at the reInvent. So the CEO of basically Jensen Han, he mentions they driven by a common mission to deliver cost-effective, state-of-the-art Gen AI for every customer, and the partnership, basically the collaboration across the entire computing stack. So that's the result of this. So they're basically launching a very high latest H200 GPUs, and yeah, there's also numbers around it. I don't have top of my head how many, how large they are, and how many large LLMs you can use. It's really amazing. So the next one is EC2 high memory U7i instances. So these are basically ideal for customers of mission critical in-memory databases, SAP HANA, like Oracle database, these critical databases. So that's another one. I'll just move on. I would like to show the two other things which are very interesting. Amazon Bracket Direct. So I don't know those of you not aware. Amazon Bracket is basically a fully managed quantum computing service. So those of you in quantum computing, yeah, it's basically an engagement program from Amazon, which gets you access to additional compute capabilities straight from AWS console. So yeah, it truly like pushes the boundaries. You can gain access to experimental capabilities that you have limited or reduced availability, for that. So this is again for the geeks who are more on Amazon quantum computing and stuff like that. So AWS have a solution there. EC2 memory optimized instances. Again, it's again a next generation one from third. They ideal for memory intensive workloads, much faster, 30-45% faster than the current generation, and more security on top of as well. So every other launch, I always see what to expect. They always enhance that, in the next coming generations, that they either faster security, more memory interest, also energy efficient. So these factors, they definitely, take that into consideration, which is great. So the next one would be ENA Express support, 52 new instances. So this is basically, I don't know if it's like a question for you guys. I don't know if you guys know what's the default single flow network bandwidth, like what's the network bandwidth that any EC2 instance can support. If you guys know, just put it in the chat comment, like a single thread stream bandwidth. So it's usually it's like 5 gigabits per second. So the the reason why I asked the question is, this EN Express now basically is been around 1 year, but it's raises the single flow network bandwidth from 5 gigabits per second to 25 gigabits per second. It's a tremendous speed you can imagine, and it's up to the instant limit. So whichever is smaller. So basically, a 50 Gbps instance would need two flows of 25 GB, gigabits per second to max output. But from 5 to, it basically enhanced 5 times. So under the hood, basically, ENA Express is powered by AWS Scalable Reliable Datagram (SRD), so which is again a high performance network transport protocol that sorry, that uses dynamic routing to increase the throughput and minimize the tail latency. So very useful in the high volume, large file transfers applications, like kind of think media, think heavy file HPC, think of a single threaded application which with large outputs that can't yet do multiple streams or threads. So yeah, so that's a good example for that. Oh, this one is my also favorite now because the EKS port identities. So they launched. Right, you can see this one. EKS port identity. So basically, these EKS port entities provide the ability to manage credible, the credentials of your applications, similar to the way EC2 instant profiles provides the credentials to EC2 instances. So because whenever you create EC2 instance, you attach an instance profile to it. So that's how you basically get authentication using SSM or how you log into that instance. So instead of creating and distributing, this AWS credentials to the containers or using EC2 instance roles, you associate IAM role with a Kubernetes service account and configure your ports to use the service account. So each EKS port identity associate maps a role to a service account in a namespace in a specified cluster. So if you have same application in multiple clusters, so you can make identical associations in each cluster without modifying the trust policy of the role. So that's a very useful feature there. So again, going back to Lambda, so you can see so now Lambda now scales faster, so making it easier to build high capacity applications with serverless technologies. So previously, Lambda function scales by 500 to 3,000 concurrent executions in in first minute, and then 500 concurrent executions every minute after that until the limit of concurrency is reached in the account. So one busy function that was trying to scale could impact the other functions in the same account. So this scaling limit basically increase helps to resolve the problem. The customers can now increase the concurrency limit in their accounts, but the best practice still dictates that workflow that are likely to be noisy neighbors should run in a different accounts. So that's basically AWS recommendation as well. So let's quickly delve in developer tools, application development. So Amazon Code Catalyst now introduces enterprise tier. So with this new enterprise tier is a new pricing tier that offers features like custom blueprints and project lifecycle management. It is $20 per users per month with each enterprise license tier, space getting 1,500 compute minutes or 160 dev environment hours or 64 GB of dev environment storage per paying user. Sorry. So with this enterprise tier, you can get now custom blueprints to define best practices for your application code, workloads, and infrastructure. So benefit to this is you spend less time on building, integrating, and operating developer tools over the project lifecycle. Yeah, project lifetime. So this is also pretty useful. So this is the blueprint, how it looks like. So just a quick view. You can. So now Amazon Code Whisperer. So Amazon Code Whisperer basically supports IAC, so infrastructure as a code. Again, AI-powered code remediation, expanded language support for security scanning, suggestions and completions from Code Whisperer on code formation like YAML, JSON, and also AWS CDK, Python, TypeScript, and HashiCorp, Terraform, HCL, enabling developers to order IAC automation faster and more accurately. So I think this would be a new enhancement, a new, very useful one. So let's go to AWS console to code. With Gen AI capability, this makes it very simple, fast, and cost effective to move from prototyping in management console to deploying production code for your workloads and generate code for console actions in preferred format, converts actions performed in console to reusable code in language of your choice by capturing your actions and workflows. So this is pretty useful as well. Gen AI there again. So application composer versus VS Code. So application composer is basically a visual builder that makes it easier for developers to design an application architecture by dragging, grouping, and connecting AWS services in a visual canvas. This feature basically helps your developers eliminating context switching between applications and can help improve developer velocity. And to get started, you will install AWS Toolkit is in VS Code to get, and you do not need to authenticate into your AWS account. So instantly visualize the changes in your template while staying in the context of your, Visual Studio IDE, code IDE. It also allows you to better understand the relation between your application services and identify the gaps and area of improvement. So that's pretty useful. So yeah, this is how it looks like. A screenshot. The quick step function updates. As you might know, so step function basically orchestrate your, sequence of events how you want to orchestrate. Now they introduced HTTPS endpoints, which lets you integrate third-party APIs and external services to your workflows. So HTTPS endpoints provide a simpler way of making calls or to external APIs and integrating with existing SaaS providers like Stripe for handling the payments, GitHub for code collaboration, repository management, Salesforce for sales and marketing insight. So before this launch, customers needed to use an AWS Lambda function to call the external endpoint, handling authentication and error directly from the code. But now it includes a new capability to test your task states individually without the need to deploy or execute the state machine. So they also released optimized integration for Amazon Bedrock, making it easier to integrate Gen AI capabilities into step function workflows. by thus accelerating the development of Gen AI applications. So this is again pretty useful update. So SQS first in first out queue update. So here with the SQS, you can send, store, and receive messages between the software components at any volume. But now SQS has introduced two new capabilities: first in, first out queues. You can increase the throughput up to 700,000 messages per second by using batching APIs, send message batch and delete message batch in US East, North Virginia, US West, and the Europe Island regions. And 700,000 messages per second represents 70,000 transactions per second, each with a batch of 10 messages. Yeah. So to simplify moving the messages back to the source queue, or a different AWS, Amazon SQS allows you to create a red drive task. Red drive tasks are basically already available for standard queues. So now we can also start a red drive task for first in, first out queues as well. So cloud formation now introduce Git management. So which means you can speed up your development cycle. Dynamic values can now be specified in the YAML files when you're coding. So automatically syncs deployment file in CloudFormation template. Works with GitHub Enterprise, GitLab, any source managed code management tool which you basically using. Amazon service for Prometheus. So if you guys want, collect the metrics, visualize the metrics, so we use traditionally Prometheus. So now there's fully managed collector with Amazon Prometheus. So it's basically a fully managed agentless collector. Customers can now use to collect Prometheus metrics from their workloads running on Amazon EKS. So customers can now enable the discovery and collection of Prometheus metrics and from the EKS application and infrastructure through EKS console or through an API call without having to have a self-managed agents. So previously, we should have agents which collect the metrics and send it to the Prometheus workspace. So, but now I think you can use an agentless collector, fully managed service as well. So one of the significant benefit is that the collector is fully managed, so automatically right-sized, scaled for your use case. So this means you don't have to run any compute for collector to collect the available metrics. So this helps you to optimize metric collection costs to monitor your application and infrastructure running on ECS. So this is really a useful addition. I have some customers, requesting for it in the past. So very, very good to see this. Just two more addition to our support AWS SDK for Kotlin and Rust. Now it's G8, so you can use. Okay, this will be my last one. So networking topic. It's pretty interesting. Two bits. One is ALB application load balancer, which is basically you can mutually authenticate the clients that present a certificate. Yeah, so X509 certificate, ensuring only trusted clients can communicate with their backend applications. So with this new feature, basically you can now offload any client authentication to the load balancer, ensuring only trusted clients communicate with the backend application. So basically you won't go all the way to the backend application. So the kind of the channel basically terminates at the load balancer, and customers have implemented mutual authentication using self-created or third-party solutions that require additional time and no management overhead so far. So, but now with this mutual authentication of on ALB, you have fully managed, scalable, cost-effective solution that frees developer resources to focus other critical projects. So you can now authenticate clients from any third-party certificate authority CA or any. You can use the AWS private certificate authority PCA. You can also optionally enable revocation checks, to restrict access to compromised client certificates as well. So I think that's pretty useful. So AWS again, ALB now also supports automatic target weights, so which optimizes the amount of traffic sent to each target based on the information available to the load balancer. With this initial launch, so ALB will adjust the amount of traffic sent to each target based on the implicit health information like common, 502, 501 errors and connection errors. So before this launch, health checks were the primary mechanism to monitor the health of the backend targets. So while health checks successfully caught most types of the target failures, they sometimes missed the partial failures where health checks continued to succeed even though the application was, not working. So that will be a problematic situation. So in these scenarios, the application is typically impaired because of small subset of targets, uh, yeah, and anomalous and perform worse than their peers. So ATW now automatic target weights now detects their anomalies on the targets that surfaces them using CloudWatch metrics and can be configured to automatically mitigate the impact. That's quite useful as well. So now, right, I mean, depending on where you are, US or UK, so Route 53 or Route 53, ARC journal auto shift. So a common customer basically concerned what happens if an AZ fails in somewhere, right? So this feature is basically designed to help that. So this is the part of the application recovery controller. So when AWS detect any impairment of the availability zone like power, network, etc. So Route 53 ultimately removes the DNS entries for that AZ from the load balancers DNS responses. So it supports ALB, NLB, and is available in all commercial regions. Is not enabled automatically, but the customers can enable it on per load balancer level. So cross zone load balancing must be disabled for this to work. Yeah. So again, this is also quite useful. You can see in the picture. So this will be my last slide. So project Kuiper. So this is kind of privately, managed by Amazon. So this is a new project which Amazon's low Earth orbit satellite broadcast network, similar to if you're familiar with our Musk's, that what do you call Starlink, I think. It's similar to that. In addition to serving unserved and underserved communities around the world, AWS will also try to connect a wide range of enterprise telecommunications and government customers. So even greater security and flexibility with private connectivity. So I think they're not fully launched. They are spreading this thing. So as we continue to scale, enhance the Kuiper system, so they're basically constantly looking for the ways to greater control and flexibility. So that's all, guys. That's all I have for to present. Any questions? I hope you guys had fun. Do not forget to, do not forget to submit the feedback form, please. So I will select some winners for the raffle. So I have some HashiCorp exam vouchers to give away, and $50 AWS credits to give away. So to help you learning on AWS or your small project, or you can approach me if you have any mini project that helps the community. I'm happy to support you guys. So please, don't feel shy. And yeah, thank you all for attending today, and thanks, guys. And the more events planned for 24, so hopefully I will see you guys again. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.